Optimizing a Pokemon's stats make a huge difference. Check out this Meowscarada against the second Meowscarada. Look at the difference in the attack stat. In this video, we're going to talk about the determining factors that contribute to a Pokemon's stats. Welcome to episode 3 of the DanSquared Dojo, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In the previous video, we introduced Pokemon stats. The 4 factors are a Pokemon's species, a Pokemon's nature, a Pokemon's effort values, and a Pokemon's individual values. The first factor of a Pokemon's stats are the base stats of the species. Here are the base stats of Meowscarada. Every Meowscarada is going to have these stats to start with. Base stats are also the reason why Pokemon get stronger when they evolve. Here are Magikarp's stats versus Gyarados' stats. The base stats are consistent for all Pokemon of the same species. You cannot change it, but you should use base stats to help you choose which Pokemon that you want to add to your team. The second factor determining a Pokemon's stats is a Pokemon's nature. A Pokemon can have one of the 25 natures as seen here. Nature can be beneficial for a stat, which means it increases that stat by 10%, or it can be hindering for a stat. In that case, it decreases the value by 10%. You can see the effect of your Pokemon's nature on it based on the red and blue arrows in the graph. Let's take a look at Money Mike the Sylveon. The red arrow on the special attack means that this nature is beneficial to special attack, so it raises that by 10%. But there is a blue arrow on the attack stat, so that means Money Mike's attack is lowered by 10%. You can give your Pokemon a specific nature through breeding or mints. We're going to discuss mints in the next episode. The third factor that determines a Pokemon's stats are effort values or EVs. A Pokemon can have EVs in each of the 6 stats. A Pokemon can have a maximum of 510 EVs overall and 255 EVs in a single stat. EVs function in increments of 4. For every 4 EVs in a stat, a Pokemon will gain 1 point in that stat at level 100. For example, if we gave Money Mike the Sylveon 100 EVs in special attack, at level 100, Money Mike would have an additional 25 points in special attack. Because EVs only function in increments of 4, the effective max over all EVs of a Pokemon is 508, and the effective max EVs of a single stat is 252. When you see someone refer to max EVs in a stat, that means that Pokemon has 252 EVs. There are an infinite amount of ways for advanced players to spread around their EVs. A simple strategy for trainers that are new to EV training is to pick 2 stats to put max EVs, that's 252 in, then that will leave you with 4 EVs left over for a third stat, like seen in the graph. The fourth factor that goes into determining a Pokemon's stats are individual values or IVs. IVs are a value between 0 and 31 that are determined when a Pokemon is caught or hatched. Unlike EVs, a Pokemon can have max IVs in all 6 stats. You can check the IVs of your Pokemon in-game by pressing plus to use the judge function in the boxes. You can maximize a Pokemon's IVs through breeding or using bottle caps, which we will discuss in a future video. A rule for trainers just getting into IV training is you want to max out the defense, special defense, HP, and speed of all of your Pokemon, and then maximize the attack for physical attackers or the special attack for special attackers. If your Pokemon doesn't have perfect IVs, it's not the biggest deal. I would focus more so on picking an optimal nature for your Pokemon and EV training your Pokemon. We just covered a ton of information. Let's recap. There are 4 factors that go into determining a Pokemon's stats, and that's the base stats of the species, a Pokemon's nature, effort values, and individual values. A Pokemon's nature will benefit one stat while hindering another. A beneficial nature raises that stat by 10%, while a hindering nature lowers that stat by 10%. Effort values or EVs allow you to choose which of your Pokemon stats to train further. A Pokemon has a maximum of 508 usable EVs. 252 is the max EVs for a single stat. Every 4 EVs increases a Pokemon's stat by 1. IVs or individual values raise from 0 to 31 on each stat of a Pokemon. IVs have the least influence of any of the 4 factors on a Pokemon stats. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions on how Pokemon stats are determined, if you have anything to add on this subject, or if you just want to further discuss Pokemon stats. In the next video in this series, we're going to discuss how to choose an optimal nature for your Pokemon. We're also going to discuss how to use a mint to change the natures of your Pokemon. Let me know in the comments if there's a specific topic you want to see covered in one of these videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the DanSquared Dojo.